Good morning, Robins and Rabbits, and welcome to Wednesday's English lesson. This is your third lesson then on our poem we're looking at. Yesterday you should have all grabbed your favourite shoes and thought of lots of different adjectives to describe your favourite shoes and tried to put either one or two sentences using power of three, so using three adjectives. So today we're going to be understanding that some poems use personification. So that's our learning objective. But to start with, we are going to have a go at reading the poem together. You can either read it at the same time as me or just listen to me. Just get the poem up. So these old shoes. These old shoes have scuffs and stains. They've trudged through mud, snow and pelting rains. They've tramped their way to school each dawn, and now they're wrinkled, lined and worn. But these old shoes have danced with glee. They've clambered up our climbing tree. They may have cracks and spray and laces, but these old shoes have won at races. They're down at heel with thin insoles, but once these shoes were scoring goals. They've pushed up pedals, trod the streets. They've tapped in time to music's beat. They've stood at bus stops for an age. They've stamped in puddles and with rage. And if I listed all they've done, this poem would simply run and run. But though they once were bright and neat, and though they've stoutly served my feet, they're battered now and much too tight, and so it's time to say goodnight. Let's lift the lid from off the bin and gently, gently drop them in. So that's a poem that we are looking at. And before we go any further, you're going to need to pause this video and load up the personification video that was also on the English timetable today. It's very, very short, and it will just give you an explanation of what personification is. So hopefully you will watch the short video. So in our poem then, to give life to the shoes, to give life to something that's not real, our poem has used some powerful verbs to help personify it, okay? So remind yourself, what is a verb? A noun is a name and word, an adjective describes it. A verb is hopefully you've got it, a doing word. So we've used some really powerful ones in this poem to help personify our shoes, because shoes are not real, okay? So we know that when it's saying different things in the poem, the shoes are not actually doing it, it's the person in the shoes. So I'm going to give you some examples. So these are two examples in blue of powerful verbs that help personify the shoes. So we've got trudged. A pair of shoes cannot trudge unless someone is in the shoes. Okay, so trudged through snow and pelting rain. And then tramped. We know shoes can't tramp without someone in them. So it's making them human. It's giving them a human feeling. So I have just given you two, trudged and tramped. I would now like you to pause the video, and you should have the poem up hopefully in front of you from when we sent it out on Monday. And could you just have a look through the poem? Probably be easier on your screen. Can you find three more verbs? Okay, so you might want to pause the video now while you find three more verbs in your poem. Right, let's see then if you have come up with as many as I've come up with. So I've gone through the text and I've just highlighted some. So trudged and tramped, the ones that I gave you at the start. We've also got danced, won, scoring, because we've said they were scoring goals, that's what they were doing. Pushed, they were pushing the pedals. Tapped, they've stood. All these things a pair of shoes cannot do, okay? It's the human that's doing it, so we're making it human. They've stamped, I think that's all the ones I've highlighted, so hopefully you managed to pull out a couple of the key verbs. Let's go back to our screen. So lots of poems that we will look at across the year. So we have a 2-week poetry unit about 3 times a year. Lots of poems that you'll notice do use personification within them. Okay, so what you are going to do for the rest of today's lesson then, you are going to try and pull out all the places in our poem that the shoes have been in their life. And pick 5 of the places the shoes have been in their life, or /5 of the things the shoes have done. And you're going to try and draw yourself a picture map of all those places. So I've got an example on the screen now for you to have a look at. I've got one. These are some of the examples we started with. Trudged through snow and pelting rain. And you could draw a little picture of that, couldn't you? We've got tramped their way to school. Danced with glee. So you could draw a picture of yourself dancing if you're thinking about your shoes. clambered up a tree. That's my example of a map, but there are lots more places within the poem that the shoes went. So check back through the poem, find all the places that they have been to, or all the things that they have done, and see if you can draw yourself a picture map of those things today, okay? Right, have a good day, and I will speak to you tomorrow.